Good afternoon. Our work package 7 is about public-private mix and social innovation service provisions, fiscal policy and employment. Starting month 4 is now and lasting for about 20 months. We are only 2 partners in the work package since nobody other was interested to join us. This Roskilde University represented by Bentgreve and Masaryk University in Brno represented by me. And
thank you.
Thank you. Good. In fact, the objective is to explore what are the patterns in the transitions and innovation in the public sector and social services in different EU member states. As a pattern, we understand the complex of fiscal policies, the governance of social services or in social services, and public-private mix, and issue of employment in social services, either public employment or private employment. We focus on both parts. The issue is going to be explored in a specific context, which is represented mainly by increasing fiscal constraints in social services, mainly in the public sector part of social services, which have many sources. The long-lasting trend of global competition on the one hand, and the short-term impacts of fiscal crises and issue of deficits of the public budgets on the one hand, and also the long-term trends in changes in governance of public sector, which is associated with expectations of better efficiency and better effectiveness of the performance. In fact, we intend to distinguish whether there are convergence or divergence tendencies in EU countries at several levels. First, in the patterns of the fiscal policies, then how the governance of social services is changing, and what kind of public-private mix is emerging due to these governance changes. And third, what are the impacts on employment in the public sector and in social services as a whole. And the cross-sectional aspect of this is the fourth aspect of innovation in terms of innovative forms of financing, governance and service delivery, and how it is associated with changes in employment. There are three tasks in the work package. The first one is the overview of the studies and data on the 3 issues. Subtask 1.1 is about overview of data and research in shifts in employment in the public sector and in social services within the frame of fiscal policies, and with respect to different options for funding social services. Another subtask is focused on the overview of studies and data on recent shift in the systems of governance in selected social services like caring services, employment services, and also trends in employment profile in public services in different countries associated with the shifts in governance. This issue would be studied in 4 countries: Czech Republic, Germany, Denmark, and United Kingdom. Task 2 is about creation of new data sets. The intention is, in fact, to compile existing data and to supplement them with new data which could help to understand the interlinks between financing, governance, and employment in social services. We will work with 3 kinds of data. The first one, macro level data, quantitative, mainly aggregate data, context, financing, employment, Eurostat, OECD, etc., supplementing as an additional source by micro-level data, again quantitative, when we plan to use supplementary resources like European Social Survey, SILT, maybe labor force survey, individual data to explore some aspects more in depth. And qualitative, quantitative data on governance structures, governance processes, financing, coordination of service delivery, social innovation in delivery of social services, with focus on 4 countries. We have 4 countries until now. I'm not sure if we include another one. Then task 3 is to put the existing, not existing, collected information together by assessing the trends in public-private mix and social innovation, service provision, and consequences for employment, longer-term trajectories, and the links between fiscal policies, developments in social services, mainly in terms of governance and employment, both in public and private sector. For key deliverables are state-of-art report, data sets on services, and final report. Milestones, methodology, and then final report and policy paper. Well, group 2. The position with respect to the other work packages, I think, is determined by the focus on employment creation within the process of socio-ecological transition, with focus on social services, which are assumed to be in the long term important source of jobs, and public-private mix is a context in which this should happen, but the fiscal constraints are another context, and we wish to find the links between these aspects and the role of social innovation now, and flexibility of the national policy systems, how to adapt to these constraints and contradiction of the specific contexts and aspects of the process. I see now the strong links mainly to the work package 4, 5, 8, of course, but also to the work package 2 and 4, 3. Of course, the work package 1 is to be put as a key conceptual guide for us. But there are also links to the work packages, like work package 13, 16, and 17. So there are many. Thank you.
Excellent. Are there any questions? I might abuse my position as a chair then and ask one, which is that that's actually the one idea that's more familiar to me. And in the idea of long-term care, for example, one of the recent innovations that's been spreading throughout Europe is cash for services as a means of delivering services. And that's generated in some countries, depending how it's regulated, it's generating, for example, a huge amount of employment of even grey workers or grey labor. And I was wondering whether you were making some room for that kind of, trying to get to grips with that kind of data that's been discussed before. It's extremely difficult, but it is a very important component of some of the social services. And I'm quite happy to, I know of a few studies that have tried to look at that in Italy, for example. So.
That's a good remark. We intend to go more in depth in specific fields of services, like caring services and employment services. Caring services are often